Superman 1983-7 here. I'm going to do a video on pretty much my views, my thoughts, my reasoning for my views, and my official stance in, what kind of theistic views I have or non-theistic views I have. I'd like to start off by saying that I've spent a good portion of my time on YouTube pretty much just watching videos, and when I see people make strange or absurd remarks or state something that cannot be proven true, or anybody can prove to be true at that point anyway. The big thing about atheism and Christianity is that they're both at opposite ends of the spectrum. Theistic believing, whether it's monotheistic or polytheistic or whatever you believe in, it's pretty much based off historical, poorly written historical records, which none of the information within the Bible or the Quran or anything like that has any true reference to today. Our lifestyles, our morality, our way of life, it doesn't coincide with it anymore, to the point where anybody with theistic views who do read the Bible, believe in the Bible, or devout in it, or the Quran, or anything like that, most of them are cherry pickers. And when they do come across something that's in the Bible that they can't cherry pick, which, there's a few things in there. If you're going to believe in the Bible, you can't cherry pick certain things. And when they don't cherry pick those certain things, they just, it's the literal context that they go after. The literal context has to be changed in order for them to believe in their faith. Now, in a Bible that believes in, women are less equal to men, slaves can be owned, guidelines on how to own a slave and how to beat a slave. The Bible endorses war. If you don't believe in there's theistic views or values, war is pretty much prominent in the Bible. Big wars were caused because of this. Not just in the Bible, but in the Quran as well. Now, if the Bible endorses all this horrible things, and you ask, well, how come so many people still believe in the Bible? Well, for a lot of people who believe in the Bible, especially when you go to church, you don't hear the horrible things in the Bible, right? You hear of Paul or John or Luke or Matthew, kind of explaining the way and life of Jesus and the little things that he did in between that, because Jesus was, Jesus as a historical figure was somewhat delusional. He came about believing that he was the Messiah, right? Now, in today's society, if anybody walks, there is a guy out there that claims he is the Messiah. He is Jesus' second coming. I think he's a Latino or Mexican. His name is, go figure, Jesus. Now, people like that these days, especially the guy who says he is the second coming of Christ, people regard these people as somewhat crazy. Now, back in the day when we had no scientific background or reasonable thinking, methods for reasonable thinking, or a basis to, or even a platform to base any of these off of, so people really had no place to go other than, well, maybe he's right. Now, the Roman army probably got a little bit better at saying he was not right, which, thus the reason for everything that happened. Now, how you can believe in zombies rising from the dead, as it says in the Bible, it wasn't his soul that went. I can see it in the Bible, be a little bit, more, I don't know, be a little less crazy if they said, his soul rose up and some people saw the soul of Jesus and his body still stayed in the tomb, but no, this is not what happened. What happened was apparently he rose, full body, everything. Zombie Jesus rose up, and this is pretty much the start of Judeo-Christian philosophy, which is quite sad because it's not just based off the teachings of Jesus before he died, but of zombie Jesus after he risen. And in the Bible, lots of people rose after that. Zombies walking around in Jerusalem was fairly common. Now, to go about believing in all this, alright, stories of the Bible, Genesis, Revelations, all the stories that are, pretty much off in my field. Now, Revelations I can kind of grasp as a good story just for the simple fact that, most Christian theists that do study the Bible think this was more of writings of kind of depicting a dream or a series of dreams. Which is fine. If you're going to write about a dream and make it sound that good, not a bad story. Genesis back in the day was, still a fairly decent story. It still is today. That holds no scientific foundation, or it doesn't even plant its foot in anything that bases itself off of reason. So, what am I, and why am I who I am? I'm not an atheist. I am not an agnostic. Atheism, that just means just like anything else. Put A in front of anything, and it means it doesn't exist. And most people say that the only proper foundation for skeptical belief would be agnostic belief, right? You have no proof either way. So agnosticism is probably the best way to go, right? It's the more if people are going to believe in God and you're not going to believe in God, then agnosticism is pretty much the foundation that you can stick at, where Christians can't really argue that much with you, right? Because you say, I don't think that he does exist, but I can't prove he does in the first place anyway, right? Which Christians say, I do believe him, but I can't prove that he's here, right? There's no proof for theistic views. But my standpoint on theism is anti-theism. I'm going to go with Christopher Hitchens on that. I think it's the best explanation for people like myself. Anti-theism is, I don't want there to be truth in theistic philosophy at all. I don't think it holds any merit or ground. I also think that to believe in a totalitarian God, like Yahweh, Jesus, people that hear all of our thoughts, can convict us of thought crime, who can condemn us just for not believing in who they put down that they are, and not only after that, to even after the time where you have passed on, you get to live in this so-called heaven where this totalitarian God gets to rule over everything that you do and gets to decide on what you do and how you do it and things like that. And the only other two options between these two places, heaven and hell, is you can go to hell, which apparently is the fire pits of hell, and you're tortured for the rest of eternity. Which I can see if you do have supernatural belief in a God, why you'd want to study the Bible and try to follow him as best you can, because burning in hell is probably not a great idea for you. And then there's purgatory, where you're pretty much stuck. And until that God finds out what he wants to do with you, where to place you. It's kind of like detention. So you can see why I don't want to believe in this God. Someone who endorses rape, incest, slavery, child death, animal mutilation, go deeper into Jewish philosophy, you got genital mutilation. There's a whole lot of things in there that just don't seem right. And I don't want them to be right. It's not that I can't grasp them or don't think that I should believe them. It's just that I really don't want any of this to be true. And most people would agree with me. 50 million plus and growing in the United States. Next video, I'll go on about this a little bit more in part 2. I will see you in part 2.